Welcome everybody to the Monthly Movie Dispatch, the movie review show from friends that you can trust. This is a special episode of MMD where we're going to be doing something totally different, something we don't normally do at all. Usually we only do these sort of rankings when we're doing end of our year episode, but this episode we're going to be talking about the Batman movies. And all of the Batman movies. Well, maybe not all of them. Up to 17 of them. 17 of them. Are there
Whoa,
17 Batman
that's
movies?
crazy.
We're gonna be talking about some of the animated movies too. Not just the theatrical releases. So we're gonna be just talking Batman today, and so we're gonna start at our bottom and work our way to the top, ranking the Batman movie. And then at the end of the episode, we'll do an ultimate Batman movie ranking. So I'm Nick Moffat. I'm here today with Shaun Bowlby.
Hello there.
How's it going, Shaun?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah, so we're doing the Batman thing. Batman.
Totally.
Hey, real quick, who is your favorite Batman villain?
Whew. I mean,
I just put you on the spot there.
You totally
just
did.
Put you on the spot. Here's a side question. You don't have to answer right now. We'll get into it on the show. So just keep that on your mind through the show. Another question: if you could have one villain appear in the next Batman movie, who would it be? Again, you don't have to answer right now, but think about it if you want. But maybe you have an answer. Do you have an answer? No? Okay. We'll come back
no.
We'll come back to it. I'll ask you again at the end of the
There's too
episode.
many, and there's so many of them have been in Batman movies too. So many of the best ones. So.
Okay, another question. I'm sorry, I'm just bombarding you with these questions, but another question that a lot of people ask about, Batman. That's not just film guys. Everyone says, "Who is your Batman?" So when you think of Batman, like who's your Batman?
I mean, probably Kevin Conroy. Is that his name? That's his name, right?
That
Conroy?
is his name.
Yeah.
And I wish you said that with more enthusiasm.
I know. I do too. I just watched.
Is Kevin Conroy my favorite Batman? I don't even know.
No, I mean, when I do think of him, like the voice, the persona, I've just seen more of that version of Batman more than any other version of Batman, just from sheer volume of Kevin Conroy Batman. So, yeah, that's the Batman that is like the kind of standard for Batman.
Yeah, he's my favorite Batman for sure. I'm a big fan of the animated series. I literally just watched it with my kids. Like we just went through the whole series, and it was
Awesome.
so great. It completely holds up. I highly recommend it to anyone. We are going to include some of those movies today. At least they're on the docket. Just a heads up, I'm going to be including 14 movies.
Yeah, we both are.
I did exclude a few movies that I've seen that I didn't think were fair for me to rank for whatever reason. If we have time at the end of the episode, we can get into why I didn't rank them. But then there are a few others that I don't think either of us ranked at all that are just straight to DVD movies that we haven't seen. I mean, once you start opening the can of worms of Batman DVD movies, you're in a whole jungle of I'm just looking at the list here. There's Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's
Batman versus Dracula.
Batman Ninja. There's then there's like a whole series of like I don't know. There's a lot of movies here.
Which Dan Murrell, I will say, ranks something like 38 Batman movies and includes, I think, every single Batman feature length film that has ever been. So.
I mean, that's what I'm talking
cool
about.
list.
That's I didn't know Dan did that, but good for Dan Murrell. If we had a following like he does, and he hadn't already done it, then I would want to rewatch these to make it more than 14. Because just full disclosure, like real quick, like Batman and Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero is a Kevin Conroy one that I did not include because I was like, it's been a little while since I've watched it. I don't know totally where I'd rank it. So I did not include it, but that's kind of what I'm talking about, that there are those kind of movies that there's just so many. And
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
okay, so we're just gonna turn this episode off now and go watch Dan Murrell's episode just because
Uh-huh.
he already did. Just kidding, just kidding. We're still gonna do this because we're having fun, and
Yep,
well, this is just a
definitely.
fun thing that we're doing. It's a bonus. So yeah, so we're gonna go through our Batman rankings. We've got 14 movies we're gonna be talking about today, but I don't know what's on Sean's list. I don't know if we have the same ones. I don't know if there's gonna be some movies that are on mine and not
Yeah,
his.
and we're playing pretty fast and loose with the rules, so it's basically just if a movie, if one of the movies stood out to you, if Batman in one of the movies stood out to you, then you can include it on your list, is how I felt. Whether or not it's an only Batman movie, if it's mostly a Batman movie, if it's an animated movie, whatever. So
Yeah.
that's
Again,
kinda,
we'll
just
get
wanted to
into it,
point
but
that out.
I think we discussed it beforehand. It was kind of like include what you want to include, you know. So we'll get into that, and then
Yeah.
maybe we'll have time at the end to like talk about the things that we omitted, purposefully or not.
Yeah.
So let's get into it, and
Yeah.
we're gonna be doing the rules from the top 10 show with John Roca and Matt Nost, where they punt the next the movie when it's higher on the list.
Are we doing
So
a Batman voice? A
how
Batman
about we
line?
just say punt in a
Okay.
Batman voice?
Okay.
How about that?
Okay. All right.
Cool. So Sean, what is your number 14 Batman movie?
Well, my number 14 Batman movie is Batman and Robin.
Hey, that's my number 14
All
Batman
right.
movie. So real
Yeah.
quick, let me real quick set the table for that. Batman and Robin. Oh boy, Batman and Robin came out in 1997. It starred George Clooney as Batman, Chris O'Donnell as Robin, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Uma Thurman, Alicia Silverstone were also in it. It was directed by Joel Schumacher, and the villains in that one were Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, and Bane. So Sean, why did you have Batman and Robin as your worst Batman movie?
Yeah, I want to come right out the gate and say I'm not a hater of these movies, of the Joel Schumacher movies. I think there is a lot of fun in them, and I think it does like kind of capture an era of Batman and of superhero comic books that is an interesting piece of that history. But with this movie, it's one of the only ones that I have a hard time finding really something to enjoy, a lot to enjoy, as far as like the story and the characters go. I think everyone is basically phoning it in this movie. No one really knows what kind of movie they're trying to make. And I think the only real novelty of this movie is just that Arnold Schwarzenegger's in it, and that's kind of fun. But outside of that, I don't really have a whole lot of I don't really get a whole lot of enjoyment from it.
Yeah, here's my take on Batman and Robin. Honestly, I don't mind the puns. I actually like the puns. I think this movie starts out great. Like the first 20 minutes of this movie is super fun. I want to get a car. Chicks dig the car. This is why Superman works alone. Like it's so cheesy and dumb, but fun. And then they go and Mr. Freeze is, he's got these goons right around the ice skates. He's doing puns left and right. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Psh, he just freezes a giant dinosaur. Like it's hilarious. It's fun. It's great. But unfortunately, the movie like tries to get serious after that. Like it's got this whole plot with Alfred dying. Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl does not work at all. Like the movie fails because it gets very boring in the second half. Like it just grinds to a halt and tries to do something, or I don't know, it tries to be a normal movie. Like it tries to like fit into a box, and this movie works best when it's just like being silly and being crazy,
Totally
and
bonkers.
It loses itself because it chose not to stick with what was working.
Yeah.
So I mean, last time I watched Batman and Robin, I was like psyched to turn it on because I was like, you know what, I want to watch something dumb, and I had a great time and then all of a sudden I was like, actually, I'm really bored.
Uh-huh.
What?
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah, this is one of the, I for this episode I ended up watching like just a ton of Batman movies, rewatching a bunch and watching some for the first time, and this was definitely just one that I had almost no interest in revisiting.
yeah,
It's just
so let's move on. Batman and Robin was both our numbers 14. So Shaun, what was your number 13?
My number 13 is Batman Forever.
Okay, punt.
All right.
I don't know if that works. Okay, so my number 13 is The Dark Knight Rises.
Punt.
Great. Cool. So, what is your number 12?
My number 12 is The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight Rises, really quick, setting the table for it. The Dark Knight Rises came out in 2012. It stars Christopher Nolan, Anne Hathaway, Tom Hardy, Marianne Cotillard, Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Morgan Freeman, Ben Mendelsohn. Directed by Christopher Nolan. This was Christopher Nolan's third and final Batman movie. The villains were Bane, Catwoman, Talia al Ghul, and John Dagger. So, just wanted to give Dagger a shout out there. So, The Dark Knight Rises. I didn't know if this was going to be contentious between us, honestly. So, like, it's pretty low on both of our lists. So,
Yeah, definitely. I don't hate this movie. I think this movie gets a lot of flack. I think it mostly works. Sure, there's probably some plot holes and some details that don't make a whole lot of sense, and there's kind of a suspension of disbelief that you have to overcome to really make this movie work in your head. But I think there really is just something about Christopher Nolan that he is really great at orchestrating a story and having that building action and rising tension and making the struggle of the characters feel heavy, and I think he did a really great. I really liked Bane in this movie. I think Tom Hardy is fantastic. I know, like everyone also says, that you can't hear him, but I kind of didn't ever really feel like I had a hard time hearing him as much as people were making it out. Maybe that's just me. But yeah, I don't know. I think it has some really great action. I think he does a great job of building that conflict between Batman and Bane. I think there are certainly some other shortcomings. I think the Catwoman, or the Anne Hathaway, there's very little chemistry between Anne Hathaway and Christian Bale. The Talia al Ghul kind of, I guess, twist is, I don't know if that wholly works. And the ending kind of probably falls a little bit short, but I think overall I did like this movie. It has been a long time since I've seen it, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you like it more than I do. I don't really like this movie very much. I agree that there's parts of it that are great, like capital G great. I actually really love Tom Hardy in this movie, and I actually really like his voice. I think his voice is one of the funner parts of this movie. There are some great action scenes, like that opening action scene with the airplane is awesome. There's definitely some incredible set pieces in this movie. Christopher Nolan, hey, he knows how to direct a movie. He is a great director.
And yeah, there's just so much talent all around. The cinematography, the sound design, the music, everything is just really top notch.
Yeah. But to me, this was a movie from people that didn't want to make it. Like, I just got the sense that Nolan wanted to do something else. He was like, I don't know. It's like he told his story with The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight. And it was just like, it just didn't really feel like there was a story here, hardly at all.
I would agree with that.
The character arc like happens twice in the movie. Like
Mm-hmm.
the movie starts and Batman's like crippled, and then he becomes better, and then he gets crippled again, and he has to heal his body again. It's like it just doesn't really work for me as a character arc at all.
Mm-hmm.
And as a the climax, how they end the movie just felt very unsatisfying to wrap up a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So
I will say, like, as you were talking about the character arc, it really is a mirror of the character arc from the second movie as well. Like the Dark Knight is about, or Batman's character arc is about him deciding whether he wants to live a normal life with Maggie Gyllenhaal, or if he wants to continue to be Batman and work towards making Gotham a better place. And this one, it's basically the exact same character arc, except for in the end, he flips the other way. So
yeah,
I think that part of it is pretty uninteresting as well.
yeah, and so that's really where I'm at with a lot of the Dark Knight Rises. It's just, to me, it's a very just uninteresting movie, other than some really awesome set pieces
Mm-hmm.
and some cool action, and obviously great directing, because Nolan knows what he's doing. But
Yeah.
it's just like, from a story perspective, I'm just like, it just doesn't do a lot for me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's move on. My number 12 is the Lego Batman movie.
Oh wow, I'm surprised. Punt.
Yeah, I know.
Punt.
I'm not a fan of the Lego Batman movie.
Okay. I will say,
we can talk
we'll talk about it later. I will say I'm not a fan of people's opinions about the Lego Batman movie, but I am a fan of the Lego Batman movie.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to it, for sure. I know I'm like in the minority on that one,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
So what is your number 11?
My number 11 is Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. I do not have this one on my list. This is one that I've seen, but it'd been too long, and I didn't think it'd be fair if I included it.
Yeah. I think, this, I think we decided this episode is about highlighting Batman movies that impacted you. And I think what I love about this movie, and, we can debate, is it a Batman movie? Because Batman is certainly a character in the movie. It's more about...
I'm not debating that. This is a Batman movie.
I'm not saying you. I'm talking about the royal you.
Those people out there.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this movie has a really great central mystery. It's basically, Batman Beyond, however many years after, maybe 50 years after kind of the main core Batman story happens. Batman's old, and he recruits a new, younger Batman, who is actually a Batman. And and in this futuristic Batman world, the Joker somehow comes back. And the whole mystery is it the Joker? Who is this person? How could the Joker have possibly come back? And because, Bruce Wayne keeps saying, the Joker is dead. I know the Joker is dead. It can't be the Joker. And so the whole mystery of this movie is what happened to the Joker? How did the Joker die? And who is this new Joker? And I think that mystery is really interesting and really fun throughout the entire movie. This movie also has a lot of flashbacks to kind of the present day Batman, or, the core timeline of Batman. And it gets into the story with Robin, and the I don't know if you remember it, but like the reveal of that backstory is so dark and chilling and creepy that it might be the darkest thing that I've ever actually seen in a Batman movie. And yeah, I think it's just really great. I think the reveal is maybe a bit of a letdown, a bit of a cop out maybe, but
Yeah, I feel like that's where I was kind of at with it.
Mm,
Like I looked at my Letterboxd score. I think you'd mentioned that you'd watched it. I looked at
mhm.
my Letterboxd score and was like, oh wow, I think I gave it 2.5 stars with a heart. So
Hmm.
that means I liked it,
Yeah.
but I had some problems with it, and I think I might have been let down by something or other.
Hmm.
And I think so that's
Yeah.
why I didn't include it because I didn't really. I remember I'm a big Batman Beyond fan. I like
Hmm.
Batman Beyond a lot, and I forgot to set the table for this
Oh, right. Yeah.
this one, but um, I think it's pretty cool because Kevin Conroy plays Bruce Wayne
Hmm.
in on the
Yeah.
show and in the movie, and then Mark Hamill comes back as the
Hmm.
Joker.
Yeah.
So that's really great. And
Definitely.
then Eric Frindle, who a lot of people know as Eric Matthews from Boy Meets World,
Oh.
is
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think his name's Tracy McGinnis,
Yeah. Tracy.
and he plays Batman.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so
I think this all.
yeah,
I wanted to say one more thing about the movie. It really does show how much depth Robin can bring to Batman's character.
which
And
Robin are we talking about here?
this is the
Tim Drake,
Tim Drake Robin's the second Robin.
right?
Yeah, and yeah, I think a lot of people in movies, especially, kind of shy away from the Robin character, and I think this movie shows that you can bring a lot of darkness and depth to Robin.
I'm getting waves of flashbacks of what happens in
Yeah.
Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker.
Uh huh.
Now that
Yeah.
we're talking about it, and I'm wanting to go rewatch it as soon
Uh-huh.
as we're done recording this episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, solid pick, Sean. I'm glad you included on here. I don't mean to cut you off. So, yeah,
Yeah.
if you have
No.
anything else to say, just
No.
it's,
No. That's it.
yeah, like if you haven't watched Batman Beyond, give it a chance. Give it a chance, or at least, you can watch this Return of the Joker. How did you watch it,
It
Sean?
is
Have you
on HBO Max. Like almost, I
far
think
out.
almost everything except for like the original 4 are on HBO, or like maybe the original 5, including the
Oh,
Adam
sure.
West,
Yeah,
uh, and the Tim Burton Batman.
Tim Burton ones. They were on HBO for a while. I think they just
Okay.
popped off. They kind of rotate them and stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah. So I think the whole Batman Beyond series is on
Yeah.
HBO Max, as well as the original animated series.
Hmm.
But great,
And
cool.
Superman and Justice League and Yeah.
Static Shock, yeah,
Go
Static
watch
Shock's
all,
on
yeah,
there for sure.
Static Shock.
Ah, hell yeah,
all
Static
great.
Shock. All right, cool. Well, cool. So let's move on. My number 11 is Batman Forever. So we could talk
Mhm.
about it.
Yeah.
Batman Forever, real quick, setting the table for it. Batman Forever came out in 1995. It stars Val Kilmer as Batman, Tommy Lee Jones, Jim Carrey, Nicole Kidman as Dr. Chase Meridian. Not sure why I'm calling out her name, and Chris O'Donnell as Robin. This is Joel Schumacher's first Batman movie, 1 out of 2, and the villains are Two-Face and the Riddler. So, Batman Forever, I used to really hate Batman Forever. I used to give it a really hard time,
Mhm.
and at some point, like 4 or 5 years ago, I realized that there's a section of people that really love Batman Forever, and I watched a couple YouTube videos. I can't remember who, but this was back in the day, of people defending Batman Forever, and I popped in the VHS and gave it a chance, and it's kind of what I wanted out of Batman and Robin. Like it's
Mhm.
very silly. It's a goofy movie, but everyone's having a blast.
Mhm.
I actually think Val Kilmer's a pretty good Batman and Bruce Wayne. Like this is
Mhm.
something you hear a lot about with Batman movies of this guy is a good Batman, but not a good Bruce Wayne. This one's a
Mhm.
good Batman. I think Val Kilmer actually is pretty good both Batman and Bruce Wayne. Um, I'm not really a fan of Jim Carrey's Riddler. Like I don't think that's a good
Whoa.
take. I just don't think that's a good take on the Riddler character. But he is fully committed and he's being silly, and
Uh-huh.
I enjoy him in this movie. If
Yeah.
that makes sense,
Definitely.
like I don't,
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. I don't disagree. Yeah.
like his riddles are like
Yeah. There's.
fucking dumb,
Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
he's like
Yeah.
Riddler's supposed to be like smarter than everyone, and
Uh-huh.
like really like he's thought everything through and he's putting these pieces together.
Uh-huh.
Jim Carrey's Riddler like cut out some magazine letters
Uh-huh.
and glued them together with a glue stick, and
Yeah.
slid a note under Batman's door, and it's like, hey, here's a
Yeah.
riddle, and Batman's going, oh boy, I have no idea what this is, and it's like something like stupid, but
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
again though, I think this movie knew what movie it was, and it's kind of building off of Tim Burton's.
Yeah.
I saw a theory somewhere online that the big difference between Batman Returns and Batman Forever is that in Gotham, gambling got legalized, and so everything is little like cleaner and shinier, and like basically crime is more legal now,
Huh.
and the villains are just like soaking it up.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Batman
Yeah.
Forever is a weird movie. It's a weird movie, but I think it knows what it is, and so I enjoy it for that.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything. I think the big difference for me between this one and Batman and Robin is that everyone is giving 100%. They have they know what movie they're trying to make. They know what they're doing, and like Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey are just like giving it their all every single moment that they're up on screen. And yeah, for for the Riddler, I feel like they didn't pick the Riddler. They didn't pick the Riddler and then try to make the Riddler character work in the movie. They picked Jim Carrey and then tried to make a character work with Jim Carrey. So it's like, they really didn't put any effort into.
He could have been any bad guy.
Yeah,
it kind of feels
pretty
that
much.
way,
Yeah. But yeah, it's just super fun all the way through. I don't really have a whole lot more to say than that.
Real quick, I just googled Batman Forever riddles, and I just want to read a couple of these. If you look at the numbers in my face, you won't find 13 anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
What is that?
It's a clock.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, let's move on to our top 10. So I'm glad we talked about these. We talked about this off mic, how maybe we didn't want to talk about numbers 11 through 14, but
yeah,
come
definitely.
on, this is fun.
Yeah,
this is fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so what is your number 10?
My number 10, I just watched last night, is Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice.
That's my number 10.
Nice.
That is my number 10.
Wow.
Great.
We're
Cool.
pretty close here for the most part.
Lock it in there. Yeah, we are pretty close.
Yeah.
So let me set the table for it really quick. We're talking about Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, which came out in 2016. It stars Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, Jesse Eisenberg, Gal Gadot, Amy Adams, Diane Lane, Jeremy Irons, and Holly Hunter. This was directed by Zack Snyder. This is technically Zack Snyder's second DC EU movie, but his first Batman movie. But yeah, this is kind of a sequel to Superman. Under I got our show notes here. Under villains, I wrote Superman ? Lex Luthor, I guess, and Doomsday, sure. So yeah, those are the villains in this movie.
Yeah.
I can't believe you just saw this last night. I saw this in theaters in 2016 at the IMAX, sitting in like the second row, and it was I had the biggest, like, it was one of those times where one of those rare times where I actually committed to buying the combo pack, so I could have the giant popcorn, the giant drink, the collectible drink that had Batman and Superman fighting on it, and on top there was a little figurine of Batman in his mech suit, ready to fight Superman.
Wow.
And I was psyched. I was in the front row, just so yeah. As someone who watched it for the first time last night, people have talked about this movie, ad nauseum.
endlessly debated.
What was your take on it?
My hot take is I am obviously mixed. Put it at number 10. I had a lot of fun with it. And actually, for a good chunk of this movie, I was like, am I going to have to put this like high on my list? I was surprised. I was really into it, really enjoying it for a while. I haven't seen Man of Steel, so this is kind of the first Superman and Batman, or Zack Snyder version of both of those characters that I had seen.
So you were just like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I just heard both of them. The reviews around both those movies, and it just, for whatever reason, I don't remember. It was forever ago. I just skipped them.
Sure.
Just kind of didn't have much of an interest at the time. But I was enjoying it for a long time. I actually quite liked Ben Affleck as Batman. I really like Henry Cavill. And I liked where the mystery of the movie. I liked kind of the idea of showing these two characters going through, going through this story and then slowly coming together. And I think, like, as the movie went on and kept going, it just got more and more convoluted and kind of nonsensical, and kind of started drifting further and further away from what and I usually hate saying this, but what I expect from these characters and from a movie like this. But at the same time, like, it's doing things that I've never really seen before with these characters. Like, there's some awesome big action set pieces with these characters, and it's usually you have either Superman, a more campy type of movie like Superman Returns or the original Superman movies, or you have like a really dark, grounded Batman movie that kind of forgoes a lot of the bigger like Justice League type involvement that Batman has. And I think this movie leans into both of those things, or it kind of leans into a darker, more powerful, intimidating Superman, and it kind of leans into Batman being a part of this more supernatural world. And I think it does that really well. And then bringing Wonder Woman into it is just fantastic. I loved that action set piece.
When her music hits, it's like,
oh
hell yeah, this is what we came for.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that's what we came for necessarily. But that was an all-time moment.
Yeah, I do think also the Batman versus Superman element of this movie was pretty shoehorned in. I didn't really buy it for a second that both of these characters would be at odds with each other in that way. So anyways, I could kind of go on with
for sure. And I mean, like, I'm totally with you, like, basically all the way. What I really like about Batman v Superman, like, I kind of like this movie. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and defend it. I think it has a lot of problems, but I loved that Zack Snyder was going for it. Like, he had a vision and he was trying to hit a home run. I don't think he actually executed the home run. It was more like a ground rule double, but like he was swinging for the fences, and I respected that out of this movie. I loved the opening scene where it picks up in the climax of Man of Steel from someone else's perspective. I remember that was like a lot of the problems with Man of Steel. Not a lot of problems, but I know a lot of people were like, man, Superman's just like trashing the city. And then you see the ground level of Bruce Wayne being like, this is messed up. Buildings are falling down around us. Like, it's pretty horrifying. It's a great scene. And I feel like all of the actors in this movie are going for it. They're all doing something.
Yeah.
I felt like Ben Affleck was pretty locked in as Batman.
Yeah,
I
I totally
liked him
agree.
as
Yeah.
Batman. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor was going for something,
Mm-hmm.
and I dug it. It was weird. It was not for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
but I dug it.
Although not
Um,
entirely like, out of left field. I think Gene Hackman was pretty out there too, and I don't necessarily want to say similar, but he was pretty goofy and like,
yeah,
he's doing weird stuff but yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Anyways.
and like you also have to take into account that he's like a younger Lex
Mm-hmm.
Luthor too.
Yeah.
But the problem, going back to what you said about not buying that Batman and Superman would be fighting, it's I feel like the biggest problem with this movie is just like is that conflict, and it's like again I feel like Ben Affleck was good,
Mm-hmm.
but like Batman was so dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Like his reason was literally if if there's a 1% chance of him being evil, then we have to destroy him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't know if that logic
Yeah.
totally works out, Batman.
Uh-huh.
I know like you're sad about your mom, but like
Uh-huh.
like I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like it's like the script could have been a lot better in this movie.
Yeah.
And
I have to be the one to take him out,
yeah, it's just didn't buy his motivation, didn't buy that Superman couldn't commute. It's like one of my biggest problems, like one of my least favorite types of movie is the movie where the whole conflict could be resolved if two people could just like talk to each
Mm-hmm.
other, just
Yeah.
like, hey man, there's a misunderstanding here, let's just
Yeah.
try to get on the same page. And I mean, I get it. Like sometimes that's like a big part of life. Misunderstandings happen. There are
Mm-hmm.
very compelling movies about that sort of thing. But like to me, it's very frustrating. Which just like, come on, can't you just like
Yeah.
talk? Just
Uh-huh.
talk.
Especially when it's
And
like Batman, who's supposed to be one of the most intelligent people on the planet Earth, and Superman, who's supposed to be one of the like most moral and righteous characters on the planet Earth. Yeah, these two guys couldn't figure it out.
And sure, it's like okay, you wanted to tell a different story about Batman, Superman, but that's the story you wanted to tell. Like that's the Batman that you wanted to create, Zach. Like it's just disappointing.
Yeah.
It's disappointing. So yeah, I'm glad we're on a similar page with it though. Like it's not as bad as its reputation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not terrible. There are parts that are a lot of fun, and I'd rewatch it. One of these days I'm gonna like.
It is a long
I'm gonna
movie.
Yeah, but one of these
3
days I'm
movie.
gonna do Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and like the Justice League Snyder cut. Like, and I'm sure I'll have a great time with it. But yeah, Batman v Superman is a lot better than Joss Whedon's Justice League. I'll just say that.
All right.
Which I don't think you've seen.
I have not seen that either. I have seen Justice League though, the Snyder, the Zack Snyder cut. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on.
Yeah.
We could talk about that movie for an hour. So so that was both of our number 10s. What is your number 9?
My number 9 is Batman Returns.
Oh, that's a punt for me, sir.
All right.
So my number 9, I don't know if you have on your list, but that's and this is controversial. This is controversial.
Okay.
It's Batman: The Killing Joke.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. At first, I totally got that mixed up with a different Batman movie, and no.
Yeah. So I
it.
put the Batman: The Killing Joke on there. Saying the tape before it came out in 2016. Kevin Conroy was Batman, Mark Hamill was the Joker, and Ray Wise was in as Commissioner Gordon. Sam Liu was the director, and the Joker was the main villain for it. I saw this movie in theaters, although it was mostly just directed for DVD, and this is a movie that has a very bad reputation. People hate this movie.
Yeah.
And I liked it. Like, I liked it quite a bit. I walked out of the theater being like, that was a very interesting story. It was psychological. It was cutting. There was some cool animation. Like, I thought the animation was really good in it. It was cool scene, and maybe big part of that was that I saw on the big screen. But I was into this movie, and I think a lot of people hated that Batman and Batgirl like
Mm-hmm.
had sex on a roof or something,
Mm-hmm.
which like I honestly like I as a fan of Batman Beyond, like Barbara Gordon talks about how her and Batman used to fool around the cave like
Yeah.
that. So like I was like, I was like, of course they did that. I
Uh-huh.
thought there was like chemistry in that moment, and then like the Killing Joke is like an all-time Batman story, and I thought it was well done. So I wanted to just give a shout out to it. I don't have it
Mm-hmm.
too high, but I have it in the plus column as like a good Batman movie.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, um, I'm not piling on it. I thought it was a good one.
Yeah. I have not seen that movie. I I will say it does kind of rub me wrong that Batman and Batgirl slept just on the level of Batman doesn't have to sleep with every female character that he comes across.
I don't know if he does. Like
I mean,
I don't think him and Harley ever hooked up, and maybe they did,
yeah.
but
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
I don't think him
good
and
good
Poison Ivy
female,
or
good female character. The good guys, I guess. But yeah. Anyways,
I don't know.
like
He's
Talia
Batman.
and
He's emo. I
yeah.
don't know. I feel like Batman might hook up with everyone that he comes across with,
Yeah.
but I mean, he's Batman. But
Yeah. True. That
that
is true.
brooding guy, everyone wants him. Just
Uh,
kidding. But yeah. So that was my number 9. What is your number 8?
my number
No,
8.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we're on 8. Is Batman Gotham Knight.
Okay, cool. I have seen this one, but I did not include it on.
Yeah. This is an animated movie, Batman movie that kind of features, I forget how many different stories, but a good 7 or 8 different like animation styles and and kind of short stories of Batman. And I mean, I guess I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It has been a while since I saw the movie, but I just remember like loving every single story. And I think the movie does kind of have a bigger overarching story that it tells using these little vignette short stories. But it's just a lot of fun. You get to see like several different awesome variations on Batman. A lot of different art styles. The visuals are really cool. They kind of have they had a lot of freedom to experiment and kind of do what they wanted to do with the art style. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember really liking this movie. It felt like I had been too long since I'd seen it, and I didn't really know how to compare it to the other ones. What was cool about this one, right, was there's all these different shorts, and they had like different styles for each one, right?
Yeah,
Like there's
correct.
like the noir black and white Batman. There's like an anime style one, if I remember correctly,
Yep.
and just kind of like different takes and perspectives on Batman.
Yeah.
Like, isn't there one story that's like from like a kid's perspective of like the legend of what Batman might
Yeah.
be?
Yeah. Yeah. Like kind of almost a kid's take on how he saw a single event, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, solid. Yeah, so if you haven't seen that one, definitely check it out. I think both me and Shaun would recommend it. I just didn't include it because I just didn't know how to rank it. But solid pick. My number 8 is Batman 66. Did you include that one?
I have not seen that one.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, just saying the before really quick. Batman 66 stars Adam West, Burt Ward, Lee Merriweather, Cesar Romero, directed by Leslie H. Martinson. The villains are the Joker, the Penguin, Catwoman, the Riddler. Have you seen any of the Adam West Batman stuff? Not really.
I feel like I've seen an episode, maybe.
Maybe an
Yeah,
episode.
maybe an
Yeah, no,
episode, maybe just clips, but yeah.
Sure. I mean, you're aware of
Yeah.
what the tone is and
Yeah,
stuff.
definitely.
It's very, very fun. Like
Mhm.
this movie is a great time. It's so silly. Adam West is fully committed. His Batman is especially great because he's not brooding. He's not angsty at all. He's basically just a rich guy who decided to fight crime.
Mhm.
You know, and it's hilarious. It's great. You know, he's there's I'm sure you've seen the clip of him, like he has a bomb
Mhm.
and he's like running around the deck trying to dispose of it, and there's like a group of nuns and he like has to run somewhere.
Yeah.
It's so silly. There's
Mhm.
the shark repellent spray that when he has to spray, like there's all sorts of silly things with this movie. And but then there's like some legendary set pieces. There's some legendary sets. The car is beyond legendary. And all of that imagery really holds up, and I think is great. You know, we watched it last year around Christmas with my family, and it was a good time. Like we're all just sitting around and just laughing and having a great time with it. So yeah, I mean, you gotta get around to seeing this someday. It's a classic.
Definitely.
So that's
Awesome.
Batman.
Mhm.
I don't think it. I wrote Batman the movie, but I think it's just Batman. But then people refer to it as Batman 66, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think I actually looked it up, and I think its original title was Batman the movie, and it changed somehow. If I according to the Wikipedia page.
Okay. Well, I just know that Superman is Superman the movie, but that came out a few years later.
Or maybe that's what I was looking at. Maybe I'm getting them mixed up.
Okay. Well.
Anyway,
so what is your number 7?
My number 7 is Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, that's a punt for me.
Awesome.
My number 7 is Batman Begins.
That's a punt for me. Punt. How about we just have to do the Batman? We have to do Christian Bale's Batman voice for
Punt.
Christian Bale movies. Punt. All right. So my number 6
Yeah, so you're number 6.
The Lego Batman movie.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let me set the table for it really quick. The Lego Batman movie came out in 2017. It stars Will Arnett as Batman, reprising his role from the Lego movie. Zach Galifianakis is the Joker. Michael Cera is Robin. Rosario Dawson, Ralph Fiennes, Jenny Slate, Mariah Carey, Channing Tatum, Billy D. Williams. LOL plays Harvey Dent because he's Harvey Dent in Batman and Batman Returns, but not Batman Forever. So don't know what happened there. And another thing, I didn't know this until afterward, but Zoe Kravitz plays Catwoman.
Oh, really?
And then she comes back and plays Catwoman in the Batman.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, how funny is
Awesome.
that? So Zoe Kravitz is so then it's directed by Chris McKay, and I mean all of those guys I just named are basically villains. But the villains are like the Joker, Two-Face, Clayface, Catwoman, the Riddler. Conan O'Brien plays the Riddler, actually. The Scarecrow is Jason Mantzoukas. Bane is Doug Benson. But then there's a bunch of other villains too from other just pop culture, like Voldemort and Sauron and a bunch of other guys. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think you just gave a pretty good explanation as why these Lego movies can be really fun and interesting. They can kind of just do and get away with whatever the hell they want. They can bring in whatever characters they want from whatever property they want, and they can just get away with it. They can have a Batman movie with 15 different villains, with 15 different Batman villains, and and it works. I I So one thing I've heard a lot is that this is the best depiction of Batman. It's the most accurate depiction of Batman, and that's something I quite disagree with. I don't think this is what Batman is. I think this is how pop culture sees Batman. And I think that is a really interesting take on the character. And that is what this movie does really well. I think it's kind of commenting on how we have kind of taken the Batman character and the Batman myth and just kind of done this, like, you know, it's swirled around. It's become a meme. It's like this idea of Batman that has just grown and changed in pop culture, even outside of the artistic works that he's in. And this movie represents the amalgamation of that, like, artificially created Batman by culture. And I think that's really interesting. I think this is a movie that also really works. Like, outside of the Batman story, outside of the kind of the core Batman story and what Batman is supposed to be, I think this is a movie about a character who has a, you know, a meaningful struggle, and I think has a meaningful character arc that I found quite satisfying, and I do think, like, as the character arc, it does kind of represent what Batman is striving for in the actual. I guess I haven't read any comics, but my perception of what Batman is struggling with, and that's basically family. I think this is a movie about Batman trying to find a family, and I think that is what works best about it. And yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun, and has quite a bit of heart. And I think on top of that, it has a lot to say about what we as a society have done with the Batman story. So yeah.
Well, that's pretty interesting. I haven't really thought too much about the society aspect of it, I guess.
That's just my take. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll think about that. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Lego Batman movie. I know, like, most people do love this movie. It doesn't work for me. Like, I like how silly it is, but then, you know, it's kind of right when it tries to tell a story about Batman and Bruce Wayne that's supposed to be meaningful, it doesn't work for me at all. Like, I don't think that mixture of just the bombastic Lego style and the parody Will Arnett performance. Like, I loved Will Arnett in the Lego movie as Batman because it was just like a joke. Like, that was all it was. It was just a joke. And taking the joke and turning it into a full length, but then trying to have, you know, a meaningful character arc that's saying something about whatever, as part of that joke, it just doesn't work for me. Like, it just totally lands flat, and I just don't think this movie works in that way. You know, so just, it's trying to say something about Bruce Wayne and Batman, and I'm just like, you're trying to do something, but your style does not relate to that at all. You know, it's, you know, when I go to get a Happy Meal, I don't expect to, you know, have a meaningful discussion about, you know, the toys that I'm playing with. It doesn't work for me, like, you know. So yeah, I'm not a fan.
Interesting. But I expected you to, for some reason I thought you would like it, but that is yeah. No, and I don't totally just like it, just for whatever reason that joke, I kind of stepped back and saw it as a, you know, not as a jokey joke, but as something that kind of says something about the way that we have taken this character almost away from its source material, and it has kind of taken on a life of its own. But yeah.
Um, yeah. I'm not totally sure. Like, I feel like we could really like dig into that. I'm not. Um, yeah. Again, like I haven't really thought too much about. I feel like a lot of these movies like reflect accurately how I see Batman or whatever. So I'm just not totally sure. I don't know. I feel like maybe I've just gotten that sort of thing from other outlets or whatever. But
Yeah.
anyway, um,
Yeah.
should we keep
Yeah.
going?
No, yeah, we can. Let's move on.
Okay, cool. So that was your number
6.
6.
Yep.
So my number 6 is Batman. Batman '89, the Tim Burton movie, which would be a punt for you.
It is not a punt for me because I don't have it on my list because I forgot to add it to my list.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Oops.
do you want to add it to
we
your
would
list,
be
or?
well past it. It would be. I'll just say right now it'd probably be at number 12.
Oh.
Yeah,
Like,
it would be pretty low.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'll set the table for Batman '89 then. So, Batman came out in 1989. It starred Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, Kim Basinger, directed by Tim Burton. This is his first out of 2 Batman movies, and the villain was the Joker, starring by Jack Nicholson. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people credit this movie as like, one of the first blockbusters, or like, their introduction to, seeing what is capable of comic books on the big screen. I was 1 years old when it came out, so I don't think that necessarily counts for me, but I do love a lot of the imagery in this movie. I really dig Michael Keaton's whole performance. I love how unhinged he is, as both Batman and as Bruce Wayne, and I love the car. The car is so classic to me. Jack Nicholson is ridiculous. I love the Prince songs. The Prince score is weird. I love the climax. I love the final battle between Batman and the Joker, and like I like when he's flying the jet through the streets, or he's flying the Batplane through the streets, and he pulls out the giant gun out of his pants, and shoots the plane down. It's like it's so comic booky, and I love those parts of it. I do think it's not as good as a lot of people say it is. Like it's I have it at number 6, and I just I think it's kind of slow in parts. It can be really, really slow and kind of dry, and not everything lands anymore. So so you really didn't like it though. You had it pretty low.
Yeah. It's not that I had it ranked above probably Dark Knight Rises, which I would probably say I kind of liked, and Batman Forever, which I think I kind of liked as well. But it is kind of in that area where it really starts transitioning to not, there's more negatives than positives, I would say, for the movie. I think you mentioned it's a slow movie, and I do think I really felt that. I think the movie kind of drags, mainly because not a whole lot happens in the movie. It's a pretty simple plot. It's a pretty simple conflict, and it just kind of moves at a snail's pace. And I will say I actually did not like Jack Nicholson's Joker. I don't think he transitioned between the like laughy, crazy Joker and the like more grounded, just like I'm Jack Nicholson playing Jack Nicholson type character. I don't think that transition worked almost ever in the movie. I think there are some, there's some great set pieces. There's, the production design is really fun and interesting. It definitely invented a really great look for Batman. And I do think Michael Keaton is pretty awesome. But yeah, it's just I think
wasn't
a lot.
your movie.
Yeah, just kind of wasn't my movie. I really didn't like. There was no point in bringing the Joker into Batman's backstory, and yeah, I didn't like the look of Joker. I didn't like the smile. It was weird. Didn't like it. It didn't work.
Yeah, I liked it. I like how fake it is, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of a sucker for Jack Nicholson. Honestly, like I kind of like Jack Nicholson in anything.
Yeah.
He's one of those actors for me that like he didn't do too many movies. You look through his career, and it's not like he was doing 3 or 4 movies a year. It was like he did 1 movie a year pretty consistently, and he's just always like unhinged.
Yeah.
And so I liked him as the Joker, and I mean, really, like the set design, you're totally right. I just want to echo the production design for this movie is probably the best part. Like it's a cool looking movie, and the pace I could go either way on. It's a slow movie, and it kind of like I'm looking at my order now, and I'm like, wow, really? I could flip Batman and Batman Begins. I could probably put Batman Begins above this, but I liked how much like table setting this movie did. Like I'm kind of giving it a little bit more credit just because of what it had to do to bring this to the big screen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's certainly an important movie, if nothing else, and should be seen as a piece of film history.
Yeah. Okay, so let's keep on trucking along. I think we're entering our number 5s now, right?
Yep. Ooh, top
so
5.
This is your number. Wow. Top 5. Okay, so what is your number 5?
My number 5 is Batman Year One.
Okay, cool. I do not have this on my list. I have not seen this movie.
Yeah. This. Oh, did you want to?
I'll set the table for it. Thanks. Thanks for reminding me to set the table. So yeah, this one came out in 2011. It was an animated movie that was straight to DVD. Ben McKenzie played Batman. Bryan Cranston plays Commissioner Gordon, or just Gordon. Liza Dushku is Selena, so Catwoman. Again, I haven't seen this movie, so I know. Stan Liu directed it along with Lauren Montgomery, and the villain is Falcone. So Falcone's kind of a classic crime boss in Gotham.
So this movie not only tells year one of Bruce Wayne becoming Batman, or Bruce Wayne actually on the streets of Gotham as Batman, but also tells a parallel story of Jim Gordon, who is fresh on the Gotham police force as a new detective, and in a lot of ways that's probably the more interesting story. It's about Jim Gordon dealing with the corruption of the police department, dealing with police who are taking bribes, and kind of this culture of the Gotham Police Department that is corrupt. It's very corrupt. It's very selfish. It's a police department that looks out for itself and its own interests, with very little care for the state of Gotham, really. And it's about Jim Gordon very slowly building his way into a position where he can make changes in the police department. And it is a movie that touches on similar kind of stories and beats that other Batman movies, and certainly the comic book has touched upon. But it's a really great story, and seeing Batman and Jim Gordon kind of slowly coming together, realizing that they have similar interests and that they can work together, is a ton of fun. And yeah, and their individual struggles as people is really compelling, really interesting. It's also a very short movie. It's like 63 minutes, I think. And so it's an easy watch. And one thing I will say about these animated movies is that I kind of hold these movies up as the standard for efficient storytelling. I mean, if you know these movies at all, like even especially some of the bigger ones, like the Justice League movies,
We're talking about the DC animated movies.
Yeah, the DC animated movies. Yeah.
Especially those ones that came out like between like 2011 and 2016 or so, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like that run that the DC animated studio like went on in that time period is like bar none. I mean, I'm with you. Like, I have like a top 50 comic book movies list on Letterboxd, and I have a bunch of those on there.
Yeah, I mean, like these are movies that are like maybe 75 minutes long, and they're telling like these big, hard sci-fi superhero stories with like, a ton of characters and like taking place over the course of, a year or several years, and they're able to tell this story so efficiently and so concisely that, and by the end of it, you feel like you've just gone on this incredible journey, and then you look at the clock and it's like it's been 63 minutes, and I've been, I went through an entire year of Batman's life, and it's just like there's such good, efficient storytellers, and this movie is a really great example. It's 63 minutes, and it's like and I think what it does is it really tells the story almost through montages. It's very specific little snippets, small little snippets from their lives and from the stories that they're living. And yeah, it's really cool. I really like this movie.
I'll have to watch it. Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen this one. I've seen a bunch of these other DC animated movies. Like I said, like Justice League: The Flashpoint Paradox is one that is so like, yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Crisis on Two Earths.
Yeah, that's another great one. Yeah, I'm just trying
and
to.
The Superman movies, like All Star Superman or Superman Doomsday, or there's so many. Wonder Woman is really good.
There's one Justice League Doom that I really really love, where it's actually like I thought about putting on this list because it's mostly a Batman story. It's like it's like Batman has like a way to kill each of the Justice League members, and someone exploits it. They're great. I didn't realize that Year One was such a Commissioner Gordon story, which is more interesting to me than like Batman's origin.
Which
I've seen Batman's origin so many times. I just that's why I haven't gone around watching it, because I'm just like, okay, I get it. Like I don't really need to see Year One.
Yeah, this it's less of an origin story like Batman as a kid, and more of like just him on the streets grinding it out, trying to figure out how the hell am I going to be Batman? How do you fight crime in this city?
Yeah, I'm just saying in general, I'm more interested in the stories of characters who have been superheroes for like 10 to 20 years rather than their first year, which I know is the opposite of a lot of people, but I'm just like, yeah, the origin happens, but I want to know what it's like when they're like a seasoned veteran, you know. But you're selling me on Year One, so is this one also on HBO Max? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all. Like I said, I don't know if I said it before the show, but I think everything except for the four, the Tim Burton and Schumacher Batmans are on HBO Max.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. So, so let's keep going. My number 4 is a punt for you, I think, and that is, or my number 5. I'm sorry, number 5. My number 5 is Batman Under the Red Hood.
Punt. Yeah.
Great. Cool. So, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Batman Begins.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about it. Real quick, setting the table for Batman Begins. Batman Begins came out in 2005. It starred Christian Bale as Batman, Michael Caine, Liam Neeson, Katie Holmes, Gary Oldman, Cillian Murphy, Morgan Freeman, Tom Wilkinson, Rutger Hauer, and Ken Watanabe. So, classic Christopher Nolan as the director, but, he always assembles these casts where you're like, wow, a lot of people are in it. Tom Wilkinson shows up.
Yeah.
As Falcone, and the other villains are Ra's al Ghul and the Scarecrow. So, Batman Begins. So you think Batman Begins is better than Year One? I take it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, there are similar stories. They even have a few very similar story beats, but I think. Yeah, Batman. It's Christopher Nolan. He's so good at telling stories. He's such a good director that I think he does several things in this movie that kind of elevates it a little bit above Year One. I think Year One does something kind of interesting for an origin story, and that is that it tells. It does the Christopher Nolan thing. It kind of plays with time, where it's jumping around in Bruce Wayne's story of becoming Batman, from when he's back in Gotham, then it jumps back to when he's in training with Ra's al Ghul, and it's kind of telling those two stories simultaneously. And I think the way that he does that is really interesting and compelling, and I think has a lot to say about Batman and how the character kind of arcs in that movie. He kind of invented a really cool Batman. He went for that more down to earth style of Batman.
Well, if you think about Batman, where Batman was at in 2004, is that what I said?
Yeah.
When
so.
this came out, 2004. Batman and Robin came out in 1987. So then Batman Begins came out in 2005. I'm sorry, 2005. Like, it was like, is there going to be another Batman movie? Have we just given up on a live action Batman thing? And Christopher Nolan comes along and tells like this gritty, down to earth, like on the street level, realistic, coming from Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze and, Poison Ivy eating people, poisoning people, you've got this Batman that is, just like emotional, like, but in a very realistic, dramatic way. Christian Bale, who is a great actor, and telling this in this world that makes sense. It, I think this movie is great on a lot of different levels. Like, I think this movie totally works as a film noir. Like, I love the crime elements of it, the shadows and the streets of Gotham just totally work, and I actually have it on my like film noir list because it's just so gritty and and kind of nihilistic in a lot of ways. I think this is the best like Christian Bale Batman. I think that he really brings it. He's a great Bruce Wayne, and he really he without Christian Bale, I feel like he creates this world with Christopher Nolan. Like,
you're saying Christian Bale is best in this movie, or this is the best Christian Bale Batman?
I think this
or
is the best. No, I mean, like, clearly I have The Dark Knight higher.
Okay.
I
was going to say, is that not even on your list at all?
No. I mean, like, this is the best Christian Bale like performance as like Batman. Like, he's, and not just Batman as Bruce Wayne. So I just think like his casting was so perfect, and he's just so perfect in this movie. The Ra's al Ghul stuff doesn't totally work for me. That's why I have it a little bit lower, because I'm not super into that, the Ra's al Ghul stuff. But
it's much more grounded. Like, yeah, like Ra's al Ghul, they kind of do away with the Lazarus Pit and the kind of mystical elements of Ra's al Ghul, and just kind of he's just a guy who's promoted every time he dies to a whatever. A new guy is promoted every generation.
Totally.
But yeah, and then like Scarecrow, I think Scarecrow is really awesome in this movie, and the fear toxin thing. It looks so cool, and it's like chilling and scary, and when people are on it, they're just like freaking out.
And the character design's really great. I love the bag. I mean, it's simple, but it's effective.
Yeah, definitely,
it works. And I like Batman Begins quite a bit. Yeah. Good job, Nolan. Yeah. So let's keep going. My number 4, so that was your number 4. My number 4 is Batman Return.
Yeah.
So Batman Returns came out in 1992. It stars Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer, Christopher Walken, directed by Tim Burton. This is his second out of 2 Batman movies. And the villains are the Penguin, Catwoman, and Max Schreck, I guess, to a degree. He's Christopher Walken's character. And I love this movie. I didn't used to like it as much as I do, because I used to be bothered by how the story doesn't really make sense. Like the story has all these just like giant holes. Like it's like chapters were missing out of a book, but as I've gone older, I've decided that doesn't matter, and I don't really care that the story is just the story doesn't. I don't really care about that, because I just have so much fun with this movie. I've decided that I'm in the boat that it's a Christmas movie. I try to watch it every year around Christmas. It's just so well designed. Like it's like Tim Burton took what worked in Batman '89 and just like turned the knob until like the speaker broke and the handle was laying on the ground. And it's like the Gotham is weird. There's just like but it's very much a real city. Like it feels like a real city, but a weird, twisted Tim Burton city. Danny DeVito as the Penguin is disgusting, and I love it so much. Like there are scenes where he's just eating raw fish and fish blood is dripping down his face. I just love it so much. And then Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman is the epitome of Catwoman. Like she's like so sexy and scary and like just so good. She's just so good. And yeah, I just really get a kick out of this movie. I just think it's a really, really great time. I pretty much completely agree with you. There are some plot holes, but I think most of the plot holes are just kind of funny and kind of work almost as a joke. It's almost like a yada 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 yada.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like
it's like, and then the baby, floated down the river. And there were some penguins there for some reason. Yada yada yada. 30 years later, the penguin shows back up in Gotham.
Right.
Who fed that baby? How did the baby learn to speak English?
Like the Jungle Book.
Yeah. Yada yada. Or like, Selena Kyle falls out the window. There's a bunch of cats there. Yada yada
they
yada.
Lick her back to life.
They lick her.
Yada yada yada.
Yada yada yada. She's alive again.
Right. Like, but the movie's not. Again, like I respect movies that know what they are, and this movie is like it knows that like it doesn't need to tell you why the cats brought her back to life. Like whatever, the cats brought her back to life. Like she shouldn't have survived that fall, but the cats brought her back to life, and now she's Catwoman. Yep. And we're gonna have a good time with Catwoman. Am I right? Yeah. So
I will say I watched the first Batman movie with the first Tim Burton and this one back to back on an airplane, flying back from New Orleans, and like everything that bothered me about Jack Nicholson's Joker, I was so into for for Penguin and Catwoman. It was just like, I wouldn't say Jack Nicholson was phoning it in, but just like I felt like he didn't have a good understanding of really what he was going for with the character and what that character was. And this one, it was just Danny DeVito is on all the time. There isn't a second of the movie where he's not just like being weird, like the ink coming out of his mouth, or like eating a fish, or just like making weird noises like
yeah, he is completely engrossed in this movie.
Yeah.
He's like completely like on fire.
Yeah, and I think same with Michelle Pfeiffer. Once she becomes, actually even before, like she's really fantastic as like that timid secretary to Christopher
Max
Walken.
Schreck.
Yeah, Max Schreck. And and then once she becomes Catwoman, she just nails it every single second of the movie.
Best scene, like I think it's her introduction where she like does all the cartwheels, not cartwheels, but like she like just flips across down the road, and it's like meow.
Yeah. Meow, and then the building explodes behind her.
Yeah. Great character intro.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I really liked the movie. I really liked Oswald Cobblepot's whole arc in the movie. You know, him like being this grotesque figure that's been shunned in the sewers for, for 30 years, to come up and to become like a sympathetic character that Gotham is kind of rooting for, and then like,
did you catch who played his dad?
Penguin's
father?
I don't think so.
Paul Rubens, Pee-wee.
Oh, no, I did not catch that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
Yeah, throwing his kid down the river. I mean, yeah, he's ugly, but man, geez, not okay, not okay. He's the real villain of this movie.
Yep.
Anyway, let's keep going. So that was my number 4, Batman Returns. So let's go on to number 3. What is your number 3?
Man, do I want to switch this last second? No. My number 3 is The Batman.
All right, that's also my number 3.
Nice.
Cool. So I'm glad you didn't switch it. There we go. We got more synergy.
Awesome.
Real quick, setting the table for it. Yeah. The Batman came out this year, 2022. Stars Robert Pattinson as Batman, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, Colin Farrell, Andy Serkis, Jeffrey Wright, John Turturro, and Peter Sarsgaard. Directed by Matt Reeves, and the villains are the Riddler, Carmine Falcone, and the Penguin. I'd say in that order, probably. Yeah, dude. So we both liked it. We both liked it a lot.
Definitely.
Number 3. Number 3 Batman movie.
Yeah. As you kind of gathered, I probably could even switch it with number 2 right now. I chose to stick with my guns, but yeah, I saw this movie twice in theaters already.
Nice.
The first time I saw it in at the Cinnabar. Which, have you been to the Cinnabar recently?
I used to work at Cinnabar.
Oh, really?
I've been there. Yeah, I mean, I worked there for like 2 years.
Yeah. Not the kind of movie you want to see in the Cinnabar.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. So I like during the entire climax of this movie was just like people coming up and giving you receipts, and everyone's trying to work out their what's this is this what anyways. So the first time I saw it, I kind of like a lot of the emotional impact of the climax of this movie just kind of didn't fully land. But I went and rewatched it with Kelly. Kelly saw it for the first time, and man, a lot of this movie hit really hard. Like I had tears coming out at the climax of this movie. I think it is a blast all the way through. I think it works on so many levels. I think it gets so many things right. love all the performances. I love, um, yeah, I love the world that it builds. I love the look of it. I really
Yeah.
really like this movie.
Yeah, I really like this movie too. It's a full 3 hours,
Mm-hmm.
right? And maybe it didn't need to be 3 hours, but I enjoyed that it was
Yeah,
3 hours.
yeah,
I liked that it took its time. I loved how it was paced. It was slow, but it was
mm-hmm.
methodical.
Yeah,
I loved that it was a Batman that was a detective.
mm-hmm.
That's something that hasn't really
Definitely.
been on screen before. At least on the big screen.
Yeah. I mean,
He's
even all the Batman animated Batman movies that I've seen, I've never seen anything reach this level of detectiveness, where
yeah,
it
for
really
sure.
just focuses all about Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. It's not it's this to me is not really an action movie, except the action scenes that happen are so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's that scene that's in the trailer where he's chasing Penguin
Yeah.
in the car. It's like
Yeah.
and I've only seen it once. I'd love to see it again on the big screen. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but like I saw it at the Dolby Atmos theater in
Mm.
Linwood, and
Awesome.
like like it was like, again, like that I knew that car scene was gonna happen, but I had no idea that it was going to be like a Mad Max style, like
Mm-hmm.
gritty as fuck, like crunchy mobiles,
Mm-hmm.
like we're feeling it. And like there's that part, again, it's in the trailer, like I got you, and then Batman comes flying out. I was literally fist pumping. I was
Yeah.
just like so into that moment. Like
Uh-huh.
the action was awesome in this movie, even though there wasn't that much of it,
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Um,
It's so memorable. It stands out as like almost a bigger part of the movie than it actually was.
yeah, I loved how sexy this movie was.
Mm.
Honestly, like Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz, psh, hot couple.
Mm-hmm.
There was that scene towards the beginning where he like she was sneaking around and he like snuck up behind her and he was
Mm-hmm.
like holding her mouth, and it was like,
Yeah.
yep, this is hot, and it should be. This
Mm-hmm.
is like there is real chemistry between them, and
Mm-hmm.
it's awesome. Um, I don't want to get into spoilers right now, but like the movie also does like a really great job at focus, like not film wise, but like
Yeah. First they
it
see.
just well no
Fantastic.
it
No.
no I mean it gets you in on what's happening. Like you're so involved in what's happening at every moment and solving the mystery as it's coming together. um like there's a part in the movie where the mystery kind of gets solved, and then for me, I remembered that there's still another bad guy out there, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh yeah, there's still gonna be another like 45 minutes of this
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
it's like I forgot about that other bad guy for a minute,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh cool, like
Yeah.
we're gonna keep going, and
Uh-huh. It's
it's
almost like
just
a four act structure type movie where it does like it comes to its climax, it comes to its like conclusion, but then like it takes a hard left turn and you're like, oh shit, there's a whole other
yeah,
thing we have to figure out here.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And
yeah.
that could have been like a whole sequel or something too, but
Mm,
like I'm glad they did it all
yeah.
in one movie, because again,
Yeah.
I didn't mind the length.
Me too.
I loved like just I loved the world that they built. I thought Gotham felt for the first time in a while like a real like place. Like
Hmm.
this was Gotham City, and yeah, I want to see more. And
Hmm.
real quick, just going back to that first question I asked you, like what bad guy do you want to see? I know they probably won't go in this direction, but I want to see them add something like kind of off kilter and supernatural to this gritty world. Like
Uh-huh.
I want to see like Clayface
Yeah.
in this world.
I mean, I would
Like
almost say that was almost who I would have picked, but I can't imagine him in this world. But it would be cool if they somehow managed
I
to.
think they could do it. I mean,
Yeah.
Matt Reeves, who like did the Planet of the Apes movies,
Mm,
where there's apes,
yeah.
interacting with humans. There could be a bad guy in the shadows who's
Hmm. Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
Um,
Clayface
so
is
that
an awesome villain.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought this movie was great. I'm excited to see it again. It could bump itself up, um, but yeah. And Robert Pattinson, thumbs up. Good
Yeah,
Batman.
so
Good
the way
Batman.
I kind of like describe this movie is it's Seven meets Batman, with a little bit of high and low in it, and Robert Pattinson plays Batman as uh, it, like how Heath Ledger played his character in Brokeback Mountain.
Just
Just a,
like
a
sideways talking,
Yeah, just a
like
character who is like is has so much emotional turmoil that he has just been forcing down for so
yeah,
long that
yeah.
he can barely, the words are just straining to exit his mouth, and he's just
Oh,
like
that's
he's
that's such a good
speaking
comparison, Ennis.
through
I think that
gritted
character's
teeth
name is
almost.
Ennis, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's a great comparison.
Yeah.
Brokeback Mountain holds up, by the way. It's a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
Love it, and yeah,
Definitely.
that's a great comparison. I
Um,
I also loved how this movie was about, kind of meta a little bit, like about the legacy of Batman and how
mm-hmm.
like just punching bad guys in the street isn't necessarily
Yeah.
the right thing to do. There's I think a lot of the best Batman movies kind of grapple with this, or some of I know the animated series does and stuff, where is Batman doing more harm than good with these big villains coming up and stuff, and that's like the first thing that happens in this movie is that he's like, I've been fighting crime for like 3 years or 2 years or something, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not getting better. And then like there's politicians who are like, Bruce, why don't you like do what
Yeah.
your parents did and actually like donate money to stuff? And it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's something there to that. The
Yeah.
movie takes time to explore those things, and that all is very, very interesting to me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mentioned high and low, and I don't want to get in really into any kind of spoilers here, but the scene where
I mean, come on,
with
we've all seen High and Low.
yeah,
Everyone's
yeah,
that's
yeah.
listening to this.
No, it
I
just
mean,
like the ending scene of High and Low when the main character is talking to the villain in prison, and for me mirrors a lot of Batman having that conversation with Riddler, and kind of him like looking at Bruce Wayne when he was a kid as an orphan, and Bruce Wayne, but no, poor Bruce Wayne, like that scene really reflected High and Low for me. And
yeah,
I think it is, yeah, it's very much grappling with this, like he's some rich billionaire kid who's is privileged enough to not just be forgotten in some orphanage somewhere, and Batman has to deal with that. And yeah, it's great. There's a ton of depth to this movie, and yeah, the central mystery is fantastic. I loved every moment of it, every twist and every turn, and yeah,
yeah,
I could I could keep
yeah.
going,
We could
but
go
yeah.
on. We should keep going, but I'm glad you liked it so much.
Mm.
So what is your number two?
My number two is Batman Under the Red Hood.
All right, Batman Under the Red Hood. Going back to those DC animated movies.
Yeah. Yeah, this has always been one of my favorite of those DC animated movies. And I actually rewatched it recently after we talked about doing this list, and man, this movie is so good, so fun. And it kind
Shaun,
of
I turned on the opening scene of I have this movie on Blu-ray. I'm a big fan of it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I had it pretty high in here. I turned it on like last night, and I watched that opening scene, and then I was like, nope, I need to chill out.
Yeah.
I'm not ready
Yeah.
for this.
Definitely.
It's brutal. This is a brutal movie.
For sure.
Very good though. This movie is fantastic.
Yeah, and it starts off so strong. Just a bit of a spoiler. It just starts out with basically the Joker beating Tim Drake to death with a crowbar in an empty warehouse, and it's fucking brutal and bloody, and it's devastating. And then the movie goes on from there, and it again, it has like, it's similar to Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker in that an old villain returns, and the Red Hood returns to Gotham, and the central question is, who's the Red Hood? What happened to what happened to these characters in the past that kind of correlates to this central mystery. And it again also, it really explores Robin as a character, and again what Robin means to Batman. And
because it's not again, it's Tim Drake as Robin that Joker's beating in the beginning of the movie. Nightwing, which is the original Robin,
Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson, yeah. He funny enough, he's played by Neil Patrick Harris, but he's in the movie too, and I think that he he's a big part of the movie as well, exploring like the legacy of Robin, like what you're talking about.
Yeah, and kind of where Batman, where Bruce Wayne did right by Dick Grayson, whereas where he failed with Tim Drake, and kind of all of that, like the weight of what happened to Tim Drake weighing on him, and what was Batman's responsibility to this kid who, he kind of took under his wing, and kind of him grappling with that. Also, I want to say there's a fantastic Joker in this movie who I don't even know his name.
I forgot to set the table for this movie, but I do have it all in front of me. So Jason Ackles plays the Joker in this movie.
It's kind of his own take on the Joker as well. It's not quite
it's weird, it's not like it's like he's telling jokes, but he's far more sinister than like there's like in that opening scene that we're talking about, he makes a joke of like, oh man, it'd be really funny if I did this. Nah, but I'm just gonna keep hitting you with a crowbar instead. And just like keeps beating him, and it's like, whew, I don't know. There's like, it's kind of the first time you see a truly unhinged Joker, like a truly Joker that's capable of anything. That doesn't care about anything. Because even Heath Ledger's Joker, like, I don't know, cares about something.
And even if that's definitely, this is like a truly nihilistic Joker, where he's just like, I mean, like Heath Ledger's Joker has a purpose, he has a drive, he has a plan, whereas this one, it is like he's just going, doing whatever, and you have to keep up. So that's really cool. I think the reveal in this movie is, I mean, it's not at the very end, you kind of figure it out earlier on, but the finale of this movie is really awesome. And that kind of the conflict between the Red Hood and Batman and Joker, and how that plays out is really cool. And it also, I think, has a lot to say about Bruce Wayne and why he can't kill people, and why he doesn't kill people, and makes
it really, this movie really explores that concept. That's a huge theme of this movie, which is why it's so disappointing that like Batman v Superman just doesn't care about that at all. Like this movie really explores like that line that Bruce Wayne cannot cross, and why he cannot cross it. And how harmful that is that he doesn't cross it. It's kind of it's that same thing we were just talking about with the Batman, where like, is he doing more harm than good because he doesn't cross that line? Like Superman will cross that line. But it's a really great movie. But the animation's incredible too. Like I said, I bought this on Blu-ray because I was like, this movie looks amazing, and I want to own it like on Blu-ray. I have a bunch of the other DC animated universe movies on just DVD, but this movie also though is on HBO Max. Like you're right, I just checked. It's on HBO Max, and really, if you haven't seen Under the Red Hood, you should go out and watch it. It's short, and it's really something else. It's 75 minutes. So let's keep going. If you don't mind. But so my number 2 is also an anime movie. It's Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. Mask of the Phantasm was an anime movie. Was actually released in theaters back in 1993. It's part of the Batman animated series. It's not a splintered off movie like Under the Red Hood. It's actually part of the continuity of the animated series. And so it starts Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, Dan Delaney. Is directed by Bruce Timm, and the villains are the Phantasm and the Joker. So, what I love about this movie, this to me is like the definitive Batman movie. This explores a lot of the same stuff we're talking about, like why Batman is Batman. Why he's so serious. The promise that he kept to his parents. You know, why he does what he does, and but then like it also explores like the flip of that, and the villain of the Phantasm is that villain who, similar to Red Hood, will kill and does kill, and Batman needs to stop that. But and now that I'm talking about it, it's like there are a lot of similarities between Phantasm, Mask of the Phantasm, and Under the Red Hood, except the Robin element, I guess. Robin's not in Phantasm, but no, it's like it's to me this is like just so definitive Batman. It's like it explores like the Bruce Wayne love life, and how Bruce Wayne like compartmentalizes different things, and why and whether or not he can be happy ever truly. And I think the animation's really good. It's probably not as good as Under the Red Hood, but like it was on the big screen, and there are some really awesome moments. And I'm a sucker for Mark Hamill Joker, so like his role in this movie really gets me. And I love this movie. I think it totally holds up.
I totally agree. I really like this movie. This is a movie that it's been a while since I've seen, probably the longest of any of these movies, I think. And I just couldn't, I didn't have enough of a memory of it to put it higher on my list. I think I had it, what did I have it at? I think
you had
I had it 7.
You had number 7, yeah.
Yep.
But if you haven't seen it, again, that one as well as on HBO Max. So I really recommend it. Really, really, truly recommend it. I mean, I recommend the whole animated series. I think the animated series totally holds up, and it's the best. It's the best Batman. So,
yep.
So, Shaun, it looks like we have the same number 1, which seems obvious.
Yep.
And that is The Dark Knight.
Yep.
The Christopher Nolan masterpiece. Set the table for it, but came out in 2008. Stars Christian Bale, Heath Ledger, Aaron Eckhart, Michael Caine, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Gary Oldman, and the villains are the Joker and Two-Face. But yeah, dude, I mean, like, this to me is just like, I don't know. It's one of those things where like if people disagree, it's kind of like, okay, you're trying to be edgy or something, or maybe it's just a taste thing or whatever. But like.
It's like, I get you're trying to be cool and say you don't like the Dark Knight,
you have a different opinion. You're trying, but you're stretching to find that other opinion because it's just so clear that everything that came together for this movie. And I don't know if it's the best like Batman. Like that's the only complaint I might have about it, is that's it is more of like a Joker movie, or it's Christopher Nolan doing Heat in a Batman world, but I don't care about it. I don't care about any of that because everything else works. Like everything completely works. Like the performances, of course, especially Heath Ledger, are beyond captivating. Like I still watch Heath Ledger in that role, and I'm like, this is unreal. That doesn't seem like an actor. Like that seems like I saw Heath Ledger earlier in Brokeback Mountain. That's not the same person. That's not the same person. And the story that they're telling is has a lot of different levels. There's a lot of themes to pull out. Great action, great cinematography. What is there to say about The Dark Knight?
Certainly nothing that hasn't already been said. I think I said it even earlier with Batman Begins, or maybe even Dark Knight Rises. Christopher Nolan is incredible at. I use the word orchestrating a film, and literally I mean like the way that the different parts of the film, different elements of the film kind of rise and fall and build and grow together and come together and drift apart and goes in different, the way he orchestrates a film is so incredible to me. And the way this movie in particular grows and builds, and the way the dynamic between Batman and the Joker grows over the course of this movie is so remarkable and impactful. It's a movie that is going to last forever. And then you bring in the story of Harvey Dent, the tragedy of Harvey Dent into this movie, and and what that means to Batman and Bruce Wayne's character. And that's another thing we've talked about a lot is Batman, him beating up people on the street, and is that really what's best for Gotham? And I think this is a movie where he tries to move away from that. He as Bruce Wayne kind of tries to do it the right way.
He tries to back Harvey Dent,
yeah,
right?
He tries to back Harvey Dent.
He's like, okay, I believe you. You're trying to do good. I'm gonna give you a bunch of money, and hopefully I can stop being Batman then and go run off with Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, but not just on a personal, although that is certainly an element to the story, but on the Batman level of I feel like he is struggling with what he is doing, and if there's a better way, if like strengthening the system rather than just taking down the criminals is the better way to go about it. And I think that is such a compelling part of Batman, and this movie explores it so well. And then you throw in the Joker, and it's just it's just incredible cinema. Michael Caine is a fantastic Alfred, and you really get the sense that he truly cares about Bruce Wayne, which a lot of other Batman movies that does not come across as well. And
this movie's also really fun too.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I know I've heard people care about. I've heard people comment on with the Batman that's there isn't much levity to it, and there are definitely some moments in the Joker has some good bits. He's funny in some parts, and even Batman too. I always think about how he goes they were big dogs when he's talking about the dogs that bit him. There are some funny parts within Bruce Wayne as well, and it's got a humor. It's just, I don't know, it's very well rounded. It's got everything you want from a movie. It really, to me, is one of those movies that felt like a cultural cornerstone immediately. I remember walking out of the theater. I saw it at I don't know if it was midnight, but maybe it was 10 or something. But I got out and it was beyond late, and Marysville Cinema. It was midnight.
Yeah.
It was midnight. I'm positive because I went to a concert earlier that night and then drove back to Marysville for a movie. And it was Jesse Lacey actually from Brand New. And then and then the movie got out 3 a.m. and the lights are on the parking lot and everyone was just buzzing. Everyone didn't know what to do with themselves because it was we all just had this collective experience of that was something special. We're gonna remember this movie for the rest of our lives. And then all the lights went out in the parking lot randomly, and it was it was just what's going on, And it was just, to me, it's a classic. It's a modern classic
for sure.
So
I don't know what else to say about it, but totally agree.
I don't think we need to go on about it. You could, I don't know, talk to your friends about this movie. Everyone's seen it, but real quick, let's just do a combined list. Let's put our list together and let's just do a top 10. We don't need to rank all 14, but you want to do that? Are you cool with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm not entirely sure what you mean and how we're gonna do that, but yeah.
Okay, so The Dark Knight would go at number 1.
Definitely, yeah. The Batman,
and then
probably, maybe
I
even
would
at
put the
number 2.
Batman. I put the Batman number 2 because we both had it at number 3, which kind
Mm-hmm.
of makes it.
Yep.
And then I would put Under the Red Hood at number 3 because you had it at number 2
Mm-hmm.
and I had it at number 5.
Mm.
You
Yep.
know, if you're cool with that.
Yep, definitely.
And then if you're cool with it, I would like Phantasm to
Yep.
be number 4.
Yep.
That was my number 2.
Makes sense. It was my 7. Batman Begins. You had that. What did you have that as?
I had Batman Begins at number 7.
Okay, that might be the next one.
I think that would be our next one. Well,
unless what did you have?
Yeah.
Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Maybe
I had Batman Returns number 4, but you had that at number 9.
Mhm.
So again, I think
Yep.
I think
Begins,
then
then Returns, and then what?
and then it gets fun, I guess. Where
How many is
so
that? What are we at?
that is 6.
Okay.
So so then I think the next highest on my list is Batman 89,
Okay.
and the next highest on your list is
Year 1.
Year 1.
But it might be the Lego Batman movie, although you didn't like the Lego Batman movie.
Yeah, I think we could put Year 1 on there next, if you're okay with putting 89 after
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
And then
No. Is it?
and then my next highest after that is 66, where your next highest, which you don't have on your list,
Mm-hmm.
and then your next highest would be the Lego Batman movie,
Yep.
which I have on my list, but a bit lower. So I mean, I think those two movies should round it out, and I'm gonna argue for 66 to go next, just because like you haven't seen it, and
Yeah. Yep.
I have
It has the star power.
yeah,
for sure.
and then I'm happy putting the Lego Batman movie could be on there too. So
Or what about Batman vs Superman? That was both in our top 10s.
it was actually our number 10. Like we have
Yeah.
that locked in at number. We could put that at number 10.
Yeah.
Just to,
Since you didn't like the Lego Batman movie and we both liked.
and we both had Forever lower. We both had Batman Robin lower.
Yep.
Yeah, let's put Batman v Superman on there at number 10.
Why not?
Just for kicks
Just
and
to
giggles.
appease the Snyder fans.
Okay, let's
The
do it.
Schneider fans.
Okay, so let's just read it off real quick. So, do you want to just say the number and then I'll say the movie?
All right. At number 10.
Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
At number 9.
Batman 66.
Number 8.
Batman 89.
Number 7.
Batman Year 1.
At number 6.
Batman Returns.
In our top 5, at number 5, we have.
Batman Begins.
At number 4.
Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Number 3.
Batman Under the Red Hood.
Number 2.
The Batman.
And at number 1, we have.
Of course, The Dark Knight.
Yeah. There it
Cool.
is.
Well, thanks for listening to our
Yep.
long episode, indulgently just talking about Batman. But hey, I had a great time. This is
Yep,
super fun.
for sure.
So if you stuck with us, go out and watch some of these Batman movies that we talked about and that you might not have seen. I mean, we added Under the Red Hood up in there, Mask of the Phantasm, so, Year 1. Go check those ones out, and
Yep.
hit us up if
We
you
both-
have if
We both have more Batman movies to check out, just like
Yeah.
you guys.
so
Unless you don't.
Yeah, and hit us up if you disagree with us or agree with us. I want to hear your take on the Batman, the new one and stuff. So, reach out, hit me up. And then just take care of yourself and the people around you, and have a nice enjoy yourself.
All right.
Peace out.
Bye.